Hello and welcome to the State of Events, where event professionals connect. It is with great excitement and pleasure that the State of Events is launching a new segment called Health and Wellness. Bringing awareness to this concept is actually really near and dear to my heart. We're going to share amazing conversations, compelling stories, and informative interviews. Our goal is to support event professionals in their quest to learn more about self-care practices from a mind, body, and soul perspective. You know, it is proven that self-care practices create a healthy approach to the way that we work, the way that we relate to our work environments. And most importantly, healthy self-care helps us make better life and business decisions. Now, let's listen to my story, The Christmas Gift. It was an exciting time as I auditioned for musicals, commercials, and various film projects. I was also in an exciting new relationship. And at the ripe age of 27, I trailed back to California, my home state, to take on the event industry. Until one day, my journey took a drastic detour. One night in December, I was awakened by excruciating pain in my shoulder. It was absolutely unbearable. I began hollering in terror and confusion to what seemed to be attacking my body from the inside out with this needle-like sensation. My mother, whom I had been living with at the time, rushed to my room to see what the commotion was. I simply could not move due to this pain. I couldn't adjust my body to get any relief. Nothing worked. After what seemed like an eternity, but in actuality might have been about 30 minutes, I found a comfortable enough position to sit and be still. When I was well enough to walk, we drove immediately to the ER. After several hours of observation and a couple of doses of morphine, a gentle yet concerned ER doctor woke me and began asking me questions. I had never been asked questions like these before. Sonia, have you ever been in a major car accident or sustained any major injuries? Have you now or in the past experienced mental or emotional trauma? Have you ever been in combat? Do you have a history of chronic pain or illness? All responses were a stark no. Never. She then began to formulate a sentence that I can still hear in stereo sound when I repeat it. Sonia, have you ever heard of rheumatoid arthritis? Huh? Arthritis? Like what old people get? Yes, but rheumatoid arthritis, an autoimmune disorder, she said. I had never heard of RA, much less anything that sounded like it. Her advisory to me was to make an appointment first thing in the morning with my doctor and take her prescribed Vicodin or any over-the-counter anti-inflammatory if pain persisted. This was not the Christmas gift I was hoping for. Yes. The night of that ER trip was Christmas Eve. I would undergo months of doctor's visits, trials of varying medication to manage pain, and intense research to understand this new label I had been given. The first few months varied in symptoms, emotions, and nuances. One being the discovery of bald spots on my head. For those of you with luscious locks, the discovery of your hair falling out can be more than just devastating, particularly when unexplained. I thought many times, well, this is my new life now. A struggling actor who worked nights in the restaurant and hospitality industry and secretly battled chronic pain. A year after this diagnosis, I relocated to Los Angeles to make a necessary transition to film and television. I was now simply masking physical pain with medication and taking a slew of other medications to manage the side effects of the pain medication. This would make a much longer story if we went down the whole magic pill rabbit hole. So let's just say I was a classic pharmaceutical industry success story. However, the world was still my oyster. Ready for all things new environment, Los Angeles was amazing. The grind of pursuing the artistic life, living in the NoHo Arts District, taking new headshots in Echo Park, Hollywood, and Lackawanna. Those are some of my fondest memories of moving here 13 years ago. Living in Los Angeles as a transplant, you tend to move around a lot before finally settling in a particular part of town. I can't remember the first introduction I had to homeopathy, but I do remember many of visits to Simply Wholesome. Shout out to Simply Wholesome. I would see books that my stepmother had when I was growing up. There were books about homeopathy, natural medicinal remedies, holistic care, and ancient Eastern healing arts. These books sparked my interest because they reminded me that I actually had access to what would become my future health and wellness routine all along. Wait a minute. For our event professionals, you're probably waiting for why this story is relevant to you. Let me fast forward a bit. We'll come back to homeopathy. The life of an event planner. I bet you wonder how that happened, right? Pursuing an artistic career has many routes. Direct for some, but some have pit stops. The event industry started off as a pit stop for me. Or should I say a side hustle? A friend helped me get a job working for a valet company. In my first week working there, the owner took a special interest in my ability to lead, organize, and problem solve. That position led me to a more advanced position, with experience garnered there leading me to AEG Live. Folks, this was my first big girl job, okay? My first big girl event job. The side hustle was now the main hustle. I was full-fledged working for the creme de la creme of live events, and my new position supporting the VP of Global Partnerships had me too busy for anything else. I would also go on to being an assistant event manager for the BET Experience. That's LA's version of like the Essence Festival, an event that precedes the star-studded BET Awards. No more acting for me, no more dating relationship, and unfortunately, no more masked pain. I was now on 2 medications to manage this autoimmune disorder, and due to my hectic work schedule, unhealthy eating habits and sleeping habits sacrificed self-care. I had an amazing job where I was learning an incredible amount and being challenged in ways that I could never imagine, but all of this was at the expense of my health. This is not forever, Sonia. You're just paying your dues. Those are things I would tell myself, because truly I believed that this lifestyle was only for a season. Quite honestly, the idea of what would happen if I made any necessary life changes was risky. No more celebrity networking events, no more free concerts, no more employee health benefits. Was my health worth it? Most of you have heard me mention that I'm a woman of faith. There are these divine moments called providential circumstances. Google it. Simply put, this is the belief that there is a moment in which God's will connects to His Word and His Spirit, and that consequently the work that we're doing when surrendered to His will brings you goodness and well-being. For those of you that fancy another deity, you can compare this to what Oprah calls your aha moment. Providential circumstances are key for human beings, more specifically entrepreneurs and business owners. Having your providential circumstance moment will change your life, hopefully for the better. My early work as an event professional opened so many doors for me, but there came a moment where I began making decisions that were not anchored to my faith. That happens when the world's form of success, money, promotion, influence, etc., is your focus. It's no wonder my already deteriorating health had taken a back seat. I was in jeopardy of not being anchored anymore. So what was my aha moment, you might be wondering? Remember I mentioned homeopathy earlier? Well, I discovered a new approach to my health and wellness plan after researching, reading, listening to holistic doctors, watching documentaries, all of that stuff. I identified that it was time to address this autoimmune disorder with increased intentionality. I also knew that a whole body approach was necessary if I was ever going to walk in optimal health. Beginning with a mental health approach, I sought counsel from my spiritual and business mentors. Unanimously, their first directive to me was, Sonia, you need to make some serious work-life adjustments. And as I sat with these directives, I specifically heard God speaking to me that it was time to quit my job. That He would be transitioning me into a life I would have never imagined for myself. A life that would be free of physical pain. Another freedom that was not going to come from the bondage of my current lifestyle. That was my providential circumstance moment. Eventually, I weaned off traditional medication to manage rheumatoid arthritis. 13 years since that dreadful Christmas Eve, I now live a homeopathic lifestyle that favors an Eastern medicine approach. It's inclusive of an anti-inflammatory diet, supplements, herbs, essential oils, inner healing, and a healthier work-life balance. The last 3 years, I have had over 60% decrease in RA symptoms. Yes, there are moments that are challenging, and the dedication needed to maintain optimal health takes commitment to yourself. You have to be diligent. So friends, am I suggesting that you quit your job? I don't know. That's not necessarily my place. But what I am suggesting, and I'm really speaking to those of you who believe you are destined to be a business owner or an entrepreneur, take a serious look at your work-life balance. Not perfect balance, but the ebbs and flows of balance. The kind of balance that says, do I need to say yes to every opportunity? Is my yes coming from a place of fear, doubt, confusion? Maybe a different kind of suggestion might be, does the success of my company come at the sacrifice of my mental health? Do I pride myself in being a hustler, always on the grind, even if my relationships are suffering? And when I go home every night, do I realize my entrepreneurial pursuits have left me isolated? Am I the last thing on my to-do list? These are serious questions I still ask myself. You've been listening to The State of Events, where event professionals connect. For more episodes, you can find us on Spotify and iTunes. To engage with us on social media, look for @the_state of events. Also, we would love to hear from you. If you have any suggestions, topic ideas, or if you'd like to sponsor an upcoming episode, send us an email to inquiries@thestateofevents.com. Thank you so much for joining The State of Events, where event professionals connect.